entrepreneurs to rise, innovate, and create lasting impact. And today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy helping overwhelmed solid business owners, but the actually blocking progress, and the author of the book Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, other than Mr. Rick
Hi
Tracewel.
there. How you doing, Daniel? Good to see you.
Good to see you once again, Mr. Rick. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Okay. Basically, like you said, I'm also an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Since age 19, I think, maybe 18. So, have a lot of experience in that department. And this book is about where entrepreneurs get some of us get into a place where we feel stuck, which I've always coined the uncomfortable comfort zone, and that's all for myself. And over the years, working with other entrepreneurs, I realized that I wasn't the only one that was in this uncomfortable comfort zone all the time, and that's where the inspiration for the book came from.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Rick. So today, let's talk about a long-time small business owner who spent years in the place where you're working hard, staying busy, and still wondering why things are not moving forward. All in short, uncomfortable comfort zone.
Right.
After years of hard work, what is the point you first realized the business was in a stall, in declining?
I'm not so sure it was necessarily declining. And of course, every small business owner, every entrepreneur is in their own place. I mean, we all have different paths, we all have different types of businesses and different backgrounds and that sort of thing. So it generally speaking, and that's kind of how I wrote the book, is that it's very general as far as uh, this uncomfortable comfort zone is more about recognition. So for me personally, I found myself in certain situations sometimes where I was focused on working and working hard, thinking that that was going to fix whatever problems I was having in the business. And 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 again, I'm finding that I'm not alone in this department. And whatever area that needed the work, I was kind of doing the fingers in the ears, la 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 la. I was ignoring that and working really hard. So it seemed like it should be fixing things, but it doesn't if you're not paying attention to the right areas.
The title mentions working hard, staying busy in retrospect. What percentage of the business was truly productive activity moving the business forward versus operational activity just keeping the wheels turning?
Well, it's as I said before, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it is different with every business. But it's essentially part of the problem comes from we all got into business for ourselves for a reason, and usually it's because we found a need that wasn't being fulfilled. We felt that we were very good and even experts in whatever field that we're starting. That doesn't mean that we're all experts in all fields naturally. So most of us, especially those who are even finding this book even remotely interesting, it's probably because we know deep down that we have areas that we're not perfect in, and that we probably need some help in. But being a business owner and being an entrepreneur definitely comes along with having a healthy ego. So we don't even want to admit to ourselves that we have areas that we're lacking in, whether it be finance or marketing or dealing with the public or working on equipment, whatever it is, for each individual. But that's kind of, I think we get stuck in this uncomfortable comfort zone because by nature of us being entrepreneurs, we don't have anybody standing over our shoulder, tapping on our shoulder, saying, you probably should be working on something else. We don't have that just by our own nature.
don't have those people to, well, support us. How do you come to understand the difference between the healthy plateau for consolidation and dangerous stall signaling and need a fundamental change? What are the signs you were in the latter?
I would say, uh, like a lot of things, awareness is key. So being aware that, I mean, I think deep down we know what we're lacking in or what area we should be working on, but I think we tend to, because we're hard workers. I mean, we started a business, and that's a rarity right there. When you're an entrepreneur, you're already way beyond what most people will do. So I want people to give themselves credit for that right out the gate. But when we find ourselves working hard simply to work hard and we're not paying attention to things, sometimes it's the awareness alone that, hey, you know, we're in that situation again. We really should be paying attention to this, whether it's get somebody to help us or spending more time focused on that. I mean, it's different for everybody, but having that awareness definitely helped me. It kept me from slipping easily back into that uncomfortable comfort zone. So I think awareness is a big help.
Awareness indeed. The founder's ceiling, Mr. Rick. Often a business stalls because it has outgrown the owner's original skill set or management style. What was the hardest to see limitation in your own approach that you had to confront from break the cycle?
I think for me, the areas where I was, let's say, lacking in or not as experienced in, it essentially I was ignoring it. I knew it needed to be worked on, but I was ignoring it. And it didn't necessarily mean the business was failing. It's just it wasn't where I was hoping it would be. So if I had goals set that the business would be a certain size, have a certain number of employees, or bringing in a certain amount of money, certain amount of profitability, whatever it is for everybody, since everybody's different, it that's where I found myself. I'm not even sure if I recognized that I was lacking in certain areas. It was more that I was disappointed that the business wasn't where I was hoping it would be. So it didn't necessarily mean it was failing. I think a lot of people find themselves there, that the business is operating and it's keeping everything afloat, and it's not losing money necessarily or going out of business. It's not that bad. It's just not where you would hope it would be or you expected it to be. So that's kind of where the awareness kicks in, that if you're aware of certain areas that you should be working on, other than all of the, you know, picking up the garbage and answering emails and working on the website, working on social media, all the basics that you've gotten to into a rhythm on. Um, just that fact alone, noticing that there's certain areas that you need either help on or need to focus on yourself, that's really a big key in moving the business forward and getting past that stuck, uncomfortable comfort zone you're in.
Very well said, Mr. Rick. The good enough client or product trap. Did you find yourself clinging to legacy products, services, or a core group of clients because they were reliable, even they were no longer profitable or growth oriented?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's part of the uncomfortable comfort zone, is that you feel comfortable in it because, as you said, either you have a good rapport with certain clients, they understand you, they're not asking for more from you, that sort of thing. But if you're not working on your business, it you probably aren't moving as fast as you'd like or growing as fast as you'd like. So you end up working harder and not accomplishing as much. So one of the chapters in the book, and these chapters, this is not a book that you have to read cover to cover. Everybody's going to get something different from it. It's again awareness of certain areas that you may be needing to work on, et cetera. One of the chapters that seems to resonate with a lot of people is, in general, with business, the business industry of small businesses. If you have a business and you ask yourself, what would happen if I walked away from the business for 2 weeks? not a vacation, but if you needed to be away from the business, most of my clients, I'm in marketing, most of my clients, when I ask them that, the answer is generally the business stops, or the business is on pause, or the business does nothing. And if that's the answer in the small business industry around the world, let alone the United States, it generally means you really don't have a business. You have a job that you created for yourself. You know what I mean? So there's no processes, there's no follow through if you're not there. And so just organizing your business so that you, even if you're not planning on selling, if you organize it as if you were, and you're able to plug people in and help in certain areas and take some of the pressure off yourself, free you up to work on things you should be working on as a business owner, that's a huge key to getting past that stuck, uncomfortable comfort zone.
Mr. Rick, business can mask lack of a key metrics. What has the one number of a key performance indicator you either were not tracking or were ignoring that once you face it, it revealed the core of the stall?
It's hard to answer that because of the varying types of businesses, whether it's service or selling products or both. I'm not sure if there's an actual number that for that kind of matrix. I think it's really, and that's kind of what this book is all about. It's for people to recognize certain areas within themselves and their business. So the book is not specific to plumbers or specific to bookkeepers. It's more of a general thing so that people can recognize their own situation and kind of start moving toward getting out of that stuck place and moving their business and themselves forward. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, Mr. Rick. Makes sense indeed. Many owners struggle to delegate. Did your stall stem from an inability to let go or from delegating tasks without providing strategic direction, leading to a team running in circles?
Yeah, that is definitely a big problem that small, solopreneurs, so to speak, but entrepreneurs, small business owners, that's an area that we all tend to find ourselves in at one time or another. Um, Delegating, either it's difficult to delegate because you don't know the area that needs delegating, you don't know what to explain to somebody or how to train them to take over that part, or we are we are such, by nature, we're of being a solopreneur, we kind of are, I don't want to say control freak, but it's kind of like that. We definitely want to have quality control in our business because it's our the business is us, so to speak. So it makes it really difficult to delegate sometimes, and making that leap to delegating and learning how to let go sometimes really can help make your business grow immensely.
Very well said, Mr. Rick. So the grind of a stall is uniquely draining because there's no crisis to rally against, just a plateau slog. How do you manage your own energy and morale during this slow leak phase?
I would say, I mean, for me personally, I found myself when things were slow and that sort of thing, and I was kind of ignoring the areas that needed help with, I would find myself in that uncomfortable comfort zone, working really hard, but not on the right things. So, like I said, either, I mean, uh, all of us tend to stay busy, and from the outside it looks like we're just working really hard, where whereas inside, somewhere deep down, we know that we're not working on the right things. We just don't know what those right things are, or we don't have the skills. We're not as confident in our skill set to take over and work on those areas. But everybody at some point finds themselves there. So and I certainly don't recommend borrowing money or hiring people that you don't know, that kind of thing. It's more about making that awareness of the area you have to work on, or you should be working on, and kind of taking those steps. And hopefully just the awareness alone will keep people from falling back into that stuck place. You know what I mean? So that's, I don't know if that answered your question the best, but but that's what I found myself.
Indeed, you did answer correctly, Mr. Reich. So the thought of changing proven if it's told model is terrifying, isn't it? What was the specific fear, financial ruin, or alienating local customers, or appearing foolish that the most paralyzing, and how did you move past it, Mr. Reich?
Well, the good news is that most of us who are entrepreneurs and small business owners, we we're not going to purposefully alienate customers. We know how to keep those customers. We've been in business, we've started a business, we've fulfilled a need, that sort of thing. We're up on the climate of this market, whatever market we're going after, the customers we've had a relationship with. So I would say that most people are not going to alienate their core clients. If it's something that they're changing their business completely, they're still not going to alienate those clients. They're going to bring them along with them as their company grows. So I think that it's mostly just paying attention, being on top of things, planning things out better than we have in the past, and again, being aware of those things. It will really help keep us from doing any of those negative things like alienating clients.
So let's talk about the seeking counsel, Mr. Reg. It's lonely at the top. Whose advice did you finally seek? A coach, a peer group, or a new mentor that provided the external perspective you could not give yourself? What made the person's advice land differently?
I think for me personally, and again, everybody, I keep saying it, but everybody will be different. I don't want people to hear my story and think, that it doesn't affect me. It might, depending on what situation you're in. But for me personally, finding some people to delegate certain things that I could do, but I shouldn't be, because it's taking time away from what I should be focused on. It took a little bit to do that, but once I made that decision and worked on it, and it was work, that helped a lot. I also put together a little, I don't know how else to describe it. It wasn't any in any official capacity, but I put together a group of 3 or 4 people that were business owners, just not in my particular business, and having them, where I think we met online, through a Zoom call, that kind of thing. Um, I think once or twice a quarter, something like that, just to go over what I was doing, where things were, where I wanted them to be, that kind of thing. It really helped having an outside advice group that knew where I was going, and I also in turn helped them. But for me personally, that really helped having an outside influence, people who have been there before, and they could see things much better than I could because I was so close to it.
Mr. Rick, was there a part of the solution adopting the new technology or automating process would done manually for years? How did you overcome the inertia and cost to make it leap?
It was keeping myself from falling back into a stuck place. It was making sure I was stepping forward and moving forward. There's no time frame for this stuff. There's no nothing. There's no one size fits all. So as long as you're moving forward, and whatever that looks like to you. I mean, occasionally we'll have something come up where we have to kind of take a break for a little bit, like with this book, for instance. If somebody needs to put it down and work on finishing a project before they can pick it back up, that's fine. Again, inertia, moving forward, really helps simplify the process and put you on a path to success, and kind of keeps you from going back to that stuck place, because that's not working for you and it's not going to work. So you just keep moving forward and keep that motion going, and that's what helped for me and helped for many of my clients that I talked to about it.
Mr. Rick, after the years in business, marketing can be become stale. Did breaking the stall require a fundamental rethink of how you attracted customers? So moving from word of mouth to scalable system or rebranding entirely.
You know, I don't want people listening or reading the book to think that they have to rebrand completely. I mean, in some cases maybe that's true, but when it comes to the focus of this book just kind of being aware and moving forward, little steps, a couple of steps at a time, it may end up where you have to you decide to do that complete rebranding or changing your approach and that kind of thing, but it's nothing you have to do overnight. You don't have to completely change your business, change your company name, logo, website, all that. I mean, it's that's too much to expect from somebody who is just coming out of an uncomfortable comfort zone, so to speak. So I think taking steps, especially if you're a solo business owner like myself and many others that I've spoken to, it it's instead of assuming that you have to rebrand or get a loan or spend a bunch of money and all your savings and that kind of thing, taking money away from your own family. It's more about finding balance of your family life, your personal life, your business, you know, spending the right amount of time on the future of your business. It might be once a week, once a day, once a month, once a quarter. It's all going to depend on the individual kind of business. But I think that's the key is taking those small steps. And the more you take those small steps, the more you grow, the more you learn about your business and where you need to spend your most of your time on, or a focus of your time as your business grows to where you want it to be.
Yes, people, baby steps indeed. So, how do your role have to change from a chief doer to chief visionary and architect? What systems do you put in place to make the business less dependent on your personally or personally?
I think that's a matter of putting together systems, meaning a customer calls and asks XYZ, you should have it eventually written down that somebody should be doing this, 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 and this. It's really the owner picturing themselves not being there and preparing the business to be handled properly when they're not there. Does that make sense? That's that's probably the most straight across answer I can come up with.
So, Mr. Rick, let's talk about the profitability and revenue clarity. Did you discover you were chasing revenue at the expense of profit? Or how did you shift the model, client base, or pricing to prioritize healthy margins over sheer top line growth?
That's a very good question. It is for me personally. I definitely found myself chasing revenue, not necessarily knowing that it's helping the business long term. It was more about a fear inside. I wasn't a fearful. I'm not a fearful person, but looking back at where I've been in this uncomfortable comfort zone myself, it was chasing revenue strictly to make sure that nothing falls apart. So it was more of like oh, I got to make sure that this gets done and that gets done and this gets done, and it's taking care of, let's say, with a lot of my clients, and I've been there too, chasing after uh, lower income business, so that it keeps you. What I found for myself, it was keeping me from not chasing, but focusing on furthering my business by going after, let's say, a different market, or offering a different service or product, that kind of thing. So that's how I would answer that.
Very well said, Mr. Rick. Very well said indeed. Before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season. Abstract poetry in third season, and of course, my book 101 review and sixth season too, comedy 101 fourth season, and my food 101 and sixth season as well. Geography 101 love letters, a movie 101 review, music 101 fifth season, science 101, sex 101 fourth season, and spiritual awakening, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course, my Bible verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Rick, if you have a team, how do you communicate the need for change and bring them along on the pivot? How did their roles and responsibilities have to evolve?
I think it's a matter of asking yourself which parts of your business you are, especially where you're at the moment, which parts of your business require you to be there, or that you're just choosing it to be you because you're afraid of letting go. So choosing a path, where you're not having to do everything and giving away pieces of it, and even if you have to do training, that's a good way to move forward.
Indeed, move forward, not backward, people. So, Mr. Rick, can you please invite the listeners to report your book, your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, if somebody wants to learn more about Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, I mean, they can get it at Amazon, of course, and it's also available on audiobook on Audible. But if they want to learn more about the book or reach out to me, they can go to uncomfortablecomfortzone.com or uczbook.com. That's a shorter version.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Rick Tracewel, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come, more empowering business will rise. So I have one more question, Mr. Rick, for the listener who is in the thick of this right now, working hard, staying busy, and going nowhere. What is your single most important piece of compassionate but direct advice to help them to make this first step off the treadmill?
I would say find your balance, your life balance, as well as your business balance, and keep moving forward. Find the areas that you need to work on and keep moving forward. No one else has to know.
Yes, people, move forward, people, not backward once again, and try until you succeed. So, Mr. Break, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it.
What can people see you soon?